They may be eliminated, but the season's not over just yet. The Canucks finish off the road portion of their schedule with a 4-1 win in Colorado. We're breaking it down on Rink Wide Vancouver. And we welcome you inside the Rink Wide Vancouver studios. Yes, I know there will be no playoff hockey in Vancouver this year, but they have to finish out the schedule. And the Canucks did it in style, at least finishing out the road portion of the 2024-25 road calendar as they go into Colorado. Avs without Nathan MacKinnon. Avs don't have much to play for. They're kind of locked into their playoff position. And so you take all that into account. But look, Rick Tocchet has urged his guys to play hard. Play to the final game on the schedule, and that's coming up next Wednesday at home against Vegas. A 4-1 win for the Vancouver Canucks coming off the crazy comeback the other night in Dallas. So back-to-back victories on this quick 2-game road trip, and the Vancouver Canucks will come on home to wrap things up against Minnesota, against San Jose, and against the Vegas Golden Knights. It is Rink Wide Vancouver. It's brought to you in part by Bet365. I'm Jeff. He is Irf.
Yes.
And some frustration in the chat already. People lamenting the season that has gone by the wayside. If you want to get your thoughts through to us right here on the program, then bring it with a super chat. Our charity partner this season, the BC Mental Health Foundation, changing the face of mental health and addiction by supporting breakthroughs in care, public understanding, research, and knowledge exchange. I will say this much for the Vancouver Canucks. They understood the assignment. There was a Canucks Army watch party at Greta tonight. And the people wanted something to get excited about. Kiefer Sherwood, Dakota Joshua, Kevin Lankinen was spectacular in this hockey game. And I think this market's going to be talking about D. Petey for a while after he drops the gloves for the first time in the National Hockey League and trades them with Logan O'Connor in a spirited third-period scrap.
Yeah, I think you're right about understanding the assignment. But the last two road games, Jeff, I mean, the clawing their way back and making NHL history in doing so against the Dallas Stars, and then this one against the Colorado Avalanche. Look, they're out of it. It's over. It's OVAH. I know I say it, but the two wins that they had against teams that were perennial Stanley Cup contenders. I know Nathan MacKinnon didn't play in the hockey game, but good for them. Good for this group. Going out, you talked about Rick Tocchet urging his team not to have no quit and, to fight for every last, drop of this season. And, definitely one of them did it.
It's funny, and I was guilty of this too, as the Canucks were trying to stay alive in the playoff chase. And I was like, yeah, but look at that schedule. They still have to go to Dallas. They've got to go to Colorado. Well, ultimately, it wasn't the Stars and the Avs that trip up the Vancouver Canucks. Just more reason to look back at some of those losses that sting more than ever now, much earlier in the season, and so many of them on home ice. But this game didn't have a lot of feeling in the early going. Just 13 shots in the first period, no goals. Avs outshot the Canucks 7-6. Vancouver had a couple of early power plays. Quinn Hughes didn't come off the ice. And I thought, oh no, they're not going to do this to the captain, are they? He played 9 minutes and 27 seconds of the first period. But credit to the coaching staff. I mean, the Canucks had a lead. They extended it. And one of the byproducts there is that they finally backed off Quinn Hughes' ice time. And, that's not really the story of this night, but the way that they have been overplaying him, certainly something to monitor. So I got a few more thoughts a little bit later on, but Jake DeBrusk opens the scoring 4.5 minutes into the second period, redirects a centering feed. Nice work by Kiefer Sherwood. And this, as we show the replay on the live stream, Jake DeBrusk's a veteran. He gets it. Scores a goal and zero celebration. And that's sort of the way it should be. I mean, any goal in the NHL is a good goal, but Jake's scored a bunch. This one puts him back on top, by the way, of the Canucks scoring derby, if we can call it that. He needs one more to get to 27, which would be match his career high. So he's got 3 games to go and a pretty good chance that, he looks like he's heating up a little bit here. Got the good bounce the other day off the leg of Casey DeSmith. But whatever the case, that one opens the scoring for the Vancouver Canucks. But they weren't satisfied there, and the season of Kiefer Sherwood continued. Nice goal, nice setup by Dakota Joshua, and Sherwood with his 19th of the season. Play starts with a defensive zone face-off. Aatu Ratu wins it. Derek forward up to Joshua. Joshua lugs the puck across the blue line and then sets up Sherwood for a snapshot off the rush and snaps it up high on the glove side of Mackenzie Blackwood. And so Canucks lead goes from 1-0 to 2-0. And again, Colorado didn't have a whole lot to play for, and they're without Nathan McKinnon and a few others as well. So take that into account. But, again, don't discount the effort of some of these guys that are pushing to the finish. And Kiefer Sherwood's been pushing all season long. He can sniff 20 now. He's at 19 goals with 3 games to play. I didn't have Kiefer Sherwood as a 20-goal scorer in his first year as a Vancouver Canuck. I know that. I don't know about you, but what a year it's been for Kiefer Sherwood.
Well, a guy that's only scored 10 in his career previously and then nothing higher than that. I don't think I can sit here and say that either. I don't think anyone watching this stream or anyone that covers this team on a daily basis can say that Kiefer Sherwood was going to have 19 goals this season. But it just goes to show you what type of player he is, right? We all were so enthusiastic about the amount of hits that he threw and the way that he played the game. And I think one of the things you have to look at is without his 19 goals, there might have been some hockey games that they didn't win this season. And I don't think that was the expectation for this guy. So good for Kiefer Sherwood. Good for Quinn Hughes for saying that he was a pain in the ass to play against. And then the Canucks went out and got him in the offseason. And obviously he makes this team better.
Well, as we're talking about Kiefer Sherwood, that was it for his night in terms of scoring. But he was also on the ice for Dakota Joshua's goal that, again, Colorado gets the Devon Taves. So, see a defenseman deflecting pucks in the middle of the slot often, but some good movement by the Colorado Avalanche. And Cale Makar gets into the scoring there. Charlie Coyle with a shot. And Devon Taves, the Abbotsford native, tipped it in. Double digits for him. He's up to 10 goals on the season. And it was 2-1 after 2. And I was curious. Again, game didn't mean anything for either of the teams. So it wasn't like they were going to battle tooth and nail in the third period for the 2 points that were up for grabs. But again, the Canucks kept pushing there. And when I talked about Lankinen, the saves that he made off Logan O'Connor in front, and then moments later off former Canuck Jimmy Vesey, point-blank chance, Lankinen up to the challenge there. And if Colorado scores, ties it at 2, who knows? The Canucks go back the other way, and it was Dakota Joshua finding a rebound and collecting it, putting it home behind Mackenzie Blackwood. That made it 3-1, and then Nils Höglander into the empty net. With 2 minutes to go. Now, it was a 3-goal lead with 2 minutes to play. I hope you didn't turn it off. Did you learn your lesson from the other night in Dallas? Whatever the case, Canucks skate away with not only a 4-1 victory, but a season sweep of the Colorado Avalanche by scores of 3-0, 3-1, and 4-1. This high-flying Avs outfit, again, without Nathan McKinnon, scored 2 goals against the Vancouver Canucks. Canucks and Washington, the only teams in the NHL that Nathan McKinnon did not find the score sheet against this season. So I tweeted that out earlier, and of course, Canucks Twitter's salty at the best of times, but especially the day after they were eliminated, and I got like a bunch of guys that were like, yeah, hang the freaking banner. There's no cash jackpot for keeping Nathan McKinnon off the score sheet, but a note of trivia nevertheless. Let's get to the 3 stars in this hockey game. We've got ours here at Rink Wide, but I'm kind of curious to see who the stars were. How about that? A clean sweep. Zach Madsen the Fraser Valley Hockey Association, and not Fraser Valley here. I guess there's a Fraser Valley in Colorado as well. Kiefer Sherwood, Kevin Lankinen, Dakota Joshua, the 3 stars in the building. Our 3 stars are a presentation of Greta Bar. And, there was the watch party going on. So I was there before the game. And then I ducked in here to the studio to watch. So hopefully people had fun. Can't go wrong at Greta. 3 stars. Kiefer Sherwood has the goal and the assist. His goal turns out as the game winner, and I think that tipped things in his favor because Joshua had a goal and an assist as well. Both had primary assists in the hockey game. Dakota Joshua is starting to find his game, and that line with Ratu as well, the consistency there, night in, night out. Again, game maybe doesn't matter in the big picture, but if you're starting to look for things that could matter moving forward, that trio of Sherwood, Joshua, and Aatu Ratu, another very strong performance. And there's Kevin Lankinen, stops 31 of 32 on the night and picks up the victory. So for Kevin Lankinen, again, I think, his play had dropped a little bit. They overworked him coming out of the Four Nations break. He had lost 4 straight decisions prior to this one, but he played well against Vegas on Sunday night. And so really this is back-to-back solid, if not strong performances from Kevin Lankinen.
Yeah.
And, he's trying to finish up on a high note. So he was good in this hockey game. Clean sweep, both in the building and here on a Rink Wide. So there you go. 3 stars are brought to you by Greta Bar. All the big screens, not a bad seat in the house. I was reminded of that as I was up in that back area where we were set up for the Canucks Army watch party. But people in there playing all the arcade games as well before puck drop. You can order off the terrific new street food menu. Telling stories out of school here, but technical producer Jacob Lazar buried in a bowl of wings. I saw that. I don't know if that was it for his food consumption on the night, but certainly it looked to be enjoying his. Jacob, how were the wings?
How are the wings?
The wings were great.
There you go.
I thoroughly enjoyed
Testimonial right here on a Rink Wide weekly drink specials as well. Greta, the place to be, 50 West Cordova, Greta Bar. Let the games begin. Let's get into the fight. Like, honestly, that's what people are going to remember about this hockey game. That's what people are going to be talking about. I loved the way DPD threw Mikko Rantanen on his ass the other night in Dallas. Was going to get a penalty. Rantanen came back at him, didn't back down at all there. And here, takes Logan O'Connor out. That's his job. O'Connor's trying to get to the front of the net. DPD says, not on my watch. And O'Connor takes exception to it, comes up swinging. They were both swinging for a guy that, I haven't seen him fight at any level. I don't know if he's fought at any level. He's a big dude. We know that. And likes to play that physical game. And this was, it happened organically. 2 guys battling. A heck of a tilt.
6'2", 185, 21 years old in his 25th game in the National Hockey League. I think the one word to describe his play overall, not just the fight, but I'm going to include it, is fearless. He's not afraid to make mistakes. He's not afraid to get yelled at by the coaches. He's not afraid to have a talking to by Quinn Hughes. He goes out and does those things that are going to make him successful in the NHL. Sure, is he going to have some games where, things aren't going to go well? He's going to give the puck away? Absolutely. You're going to have growing pains in the National Hockey League. It's going to happen. It happens to veterans of this league. But for this small sample size and for what he did and be able to go there and the season's over for your team, and you know that, and still, you're up 4-1 in a game, someone challenges you to a fight, you don't have to take it. You can turtle if you want. No one's going to say anything to you. You're 21 years old.
Right.
But for him to go and chuck him, he got landed a few punches, took a couple as well, but definitely a pretty encouraging sign. I don't think they're going to want him to fight every night, be one of those guys, but the fearlessness. Someone in the chat said Matthias Olin. I kind of think that's a long way to go, obviously, but big, physical, and definitely not afraid to mix things up.
And maybe the lasting impression from this night wasn't the fact that the Canucks beat the Avs 4-1. It was the camera shot of DPD coming out of the penalty box across the ice, players standing, stick taps on the bench, high fives and congratulations. And sure enough, Rick Tocchet, who was just eating it up. Rick Tocchet dropped the gloves a few times. In his career, Rick Tocchet made a point of getting down the bench there to give him the old tap on the helmet as well. So good night for DPD, a good night for the Vancouver Canucks, and a good night for Super Chats as well.
Yes.
We got a couple of them, and we appreciate the contributions. Dominic says, Junior is one tough cookie, and Ratu continues to build, and Noah says, do you think Ratu stays up next year? And he's building a solid case here. He also is going to require waivers, and that plays into things, and we know that there's uncertainty about the center of the ice for the Vancouver Canucks. But Aatu Ratu with an assist, 12 minutes and 40 seconds of ice time, 2 shots, 3 other opportunities or 3 attempts. So 5 attempts on the night, 4 hits, and wins 10 of 15 draws. And you can tell when a guy is feeling it, Irf. We saw there in the third period at 3-1. Aatu Ratu tries to go between the legs for a shot. Now, he was in tight, and it didn't work. But I don't think even 2 weeks ago at the NHL level he's probably trying that. But things are going his way right now. So, hey, why not put on a little show?
Yeah, and that's confidence, right?
Yeah.
You're feeling yourself. Like you're playing well. You know you're playing well. You're being put out in key situations. You know you have the coach's trust. And, in a 2-1 game, you and I were talking about it probably doesn't try that. But the way the score was and the way that game was going, the Canucks were pretty much dominating anyway. Why not try something fun, have a little flair, get creative. You look at, we applaud so many different guys for trying all sorts of different things in the National Hockey League all the time. Why not try it? If it works, it works. And if it doesn't, you go get scored on, then you're getting in trouble. But why not? And for him, the waiver thing, obviously, right about that. I really do think that they're going to go out and get another center. I don't know if the Pius Suter extension is going to happen here in Vancouver, but in saying that, you have a guy here that you can depend on. You tell him what he needs to work on this summer. You tell him where he needs to improve in the game, both offensively and defensively. That line, not bad. Like I don't mind the construction of that line.
So the knock is always about his foot speed.
Yeah.
I refer people to the Dakota Joshua setup for Kiefer Sherwood. So the Sherwood goal, if you go back and you watch that goal, and again, we said it started with a defensive zone faceoff. So Aatu Ratu static in the faceoff circle, wins the draw. Watch the replay and look for the streak of white wearing number 54 straight up the guts of the ice, all the way to the back post. He is wide open.
It's on the doorstep, yeah.
If Sherwood scores, so good on him. But Ratu made himself an option at the back post. He didn't look slow getting up the ice. So I would refer people after you're done with Rink Wide. Don't go now. Or maybe Jacob can bring it up. The 2-0 goal, and we can all watch together. Do we have the 2-0 goal, Jacob?
We do. I don't know if it has the face-off to start, but I'll take a look.
Okay. Well, Ibrahim says, Canucks defense and goaltending, Lankinen and Demko, deserve so much credit for the 3 wins against Colorado this season. Just 2 goals conceded to the Avs. Terrific stuff. Yeah, absolutely. Kiefer Sherwood had the natural hat trick in the 3-0 win. Then the Canucks beat the Avs just before the Four Nations break. And remember that game, Juszczyk scored late in the game, I think in the final minute, to break the shutout there, and just the 1 goal by Devon Toews. So, clean sweep for the Vancouver Canucks. Are we going to – here we go. Look at him go! Look at him go right to the back post there. So, just again, like he's got a summer to work on that. I'm sure he knows it. He hears about it all the time. But I thought it was worth pointing out at the very least that we saw a little hustle and some speed from Aatu Ratu getting up ice. Mel Dory says Sherwood gets himself into the open often. He does find ways to put himself in position to let the shot go. And we've seen now, guy can fire the puck. I mean, they all can at this level, but you don't get to 19 goals and possibly 20 without being able to beat goaltenders cleanly. And he does. It's funny, DeBrusk's up to 26, and so many of his goals have been scored in and around the net and loose pucks and poking pucks and whatever. I can think off the top of my head, like sort of 5 or 6 of Sherwood's goals that have been clean looks and just flat out beaten goaltenders with a big-time shot. So, I thought, like many, that Kiefer Sherwood, and I was there in Nashville in the playoffs as well, certainly in the home games as well, pain in the ass to play against. Quinn Hughes got the Quinn Hughes endorsement to go and sign him, but I didn't think that a guy could make this quantum leap. I wonder, what is Barry Trotz? What are they thinking in Nashville as they look at Kiefer Sherwood closing in on a 20-goal season? Bookham Dano in the chat says, Jeff, love watching the post-game stream, especially after a win. Scott White says Landeskog's playing tonight for the Colorado Eagles. Wonder if he's going to play in the playoffs for the Avs. I think that is the plan. Jared Bednar earlier today said, hey, if he's ready to go and he's an option, he's going to play for us. So what a story that would be. Been a couple of seasons since we've seen Gabriel Landeskog at the NHL level, and who knows where it'll go from here, but certainly something to keep an eye on. I mentioned Quinn Hughes. 9 minutes and 27 seconds in the first period. Now, 4 that was on the power play. 3 minutes and 52. Barely came off the ice in the power play. But then they backed him off. Only 6.5 minutes in the third period with the lead. 24:08. That is the way it should be. And I had put out a poll earlier today asking, what did people think Quinn Hughes' ice time would be? And I just said over 25 or under 25. The game didn't mean anything, but we've seen his usage, and it's been ridiculous. And it was again the other night in Dallas with overtime and 31 minutes and 28 seconds. 2/3 of you, and it really was almost a perfect breakdown of 2/3, 1/3 there. 2/3 had faith that the Vancouver Canucks would find a way to keep Quinn's ice time under 25 minutes, and ding, 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 they do. By 52 seconds, in fact, plays 24 minutes and 8 seconds. So that's the way to do it. He's going to play. Of course he's going to play. They got these 2 young defensemen. DPD spends 5 in the penalty box. You're not going to sit Quinn Hughes down for an entire period. I guess there's this question of, the games don't mean anything. Could you bring him out of the lineup altogether? But right now they don't have any healthy defensemen. We don't know about Tyler Myers. I think Quinn Hughes is going to play the final 3 games. He's the captain. These games are at home. People have paid good money. They want to see Quinn Hughes. He's worth the price of admission on a lot of nights. So I don't buy into the notion that he's going to take nights off entirely, but I do hope that there's more of this 20 to 25 minutes instead of extending him. There's just no point at this stage.
No, and I think that is probably going to be true. You got the Minnesota Wild on Saturday last night on Hockey Night in Canada, and then, if there is one that he's going to take off, maybe a Monday night against the San Jose Sharks. He probably doesn't need to play that one, but probably Fan Appreciation Night. You can bet the captain's going to be in the lineup for that one. Well, he's got to go collect all of them.
Exactly. Bring a wheelbarrow in.
Literally. Also, another stat. First time since 2016-17, the Canucks have swept the Colorado Avalanche in a season. Yeah.
It took them until Game 79 to get to Denver, their only visit to Ball Arena. As we said right off the top, this does it for the road portion of their schedule. And nothing wrong with their road record this season at all. The 2 late wins, 21 victories, 14 outright losses, and 6 loser points. So 21, 14, and 6.
It's 48 points, right?
It is 48 points. So, if you could held your own at home.
If you had a decent home record, you'd be in a playoff team.
Absolutely. Overall record now, 37th victory of the season. So 37, 29, and 13, up to 87 points. So we're not going to bother with standings. It'll all shake out here with 3 games to go. But the Canucks do come home off the road here with back-to-back victories, and we'll see how it all plays out. A lot of talk about Kiefer Sherwood on the program tonight, as you can understand, with the goal and the assist and the first star. And he factors into our stat that stands out as well.
I didn't ruin this one.
And the stat that stands out, you're learning, 79 games in.
I'm TD.
The stat that stands out is Kiefer Sherwood was once property of the Colorado Avalanche. He played 27 games over parts of 2 seasons from 2020 to 2022 and scored exactly 1 goal in a Colorado Avalanche uniform. He scored 4 goals in 3 games against the Avs this season. So different player, certainly has grown into an NHLer, was young and still trying to find his way, but he put up big numbers with Colorado's farm team. And when the Canucks signed him, there was a lot of talk about what he had done in the AHL, and maybe there was more to his game. Well, we have seen that unfold in front of us all season long. But 4 goals in 3 games. And beyond that, the Canucks, who end up scoring 10 goals against Colorado on the season, he had 4 goals and he had a couple of assists. So Kiefer Sherwood was in on 6 of the 10 goals that the Vancouver Canucks scored against Colorado. A stat that stands out, a presentation of Resurrection Spirits. And we told you about this the other day. Of course, the Masters is now underway, so we want to let you know about Bogey Juice. It's crafted with a tantalizing blend of crisp apple flavoring and kicking ginger for that refreshing zing. Every shot of Bogey Juice, it's like a hole-in-one for your taste buds, sweetened to perfection with simple syrup and made even smoother with top-shelf vodka. It's the only juice that's guaranteed to make your golf buddies beam with envy despite the score. that it refers to. Check out bogeyjuice.com for more info and use promo code SP15, SP15 for 15% off Bogey Juice product and merch. And you can find out more about Bogey Juice at bogeyjuice.com. So there you go. Get yourself ready for the new golf season. Kiefer Sherwood, by the way, has 17 points in his last 20 games.
Wow.
I mean, the Canucks have gone off offensively.
Yeah.
And so there are a lot of kind of crooked numbers here of late.
The Pius Suter one's wild, too.
Pius Suter came into the game with 19 points in the last 20. He was held off the score sheet. Philip Hronek's got 15 points in the last 20 games. Marcus Pettersson, who, certainly wasn't acquired for offense when you're playing behind Quinn Hughes and Hronek. Marcus Pettersson picked up another assist on the Dakota Joshua goal. He has 10 helpers in the last 20 games. So half a point a game, a guy that's, really a stay-at-home, sort of the model of consistency, but a stay-at-home defenseman, and he's putting up points. So everybody kind of getting involved here, and rising tides float all boats, and that's kind of what it is for the Vancouver Canucks. Again, where was this offense 25, 30 games ago when they struggled to get to 2 on a lot of nights? But they found their way out of the wilderness there, scoring in bunches, 6 the other night, 4 here. So 10 on the, just 10 more goals on the road trip, and now they come on home to wrap things up over the final 3 at Rogers Arena. Special teams didn't play. Special teams played a huge factor the other night. The first 5 goals were power play goals in Dallas. In this one, Canucks had 2 power plays first period and then no more. Colorado had 2 power plays of their own, 1 in the second period and then 1 late when they pulled the goaltender. Turago 6-on-4, but the game was done essentially by then. So neither team scores in the power play. Canucks penalty kill comes through yet again. And, you need your goaltender to be your best penalty killer. We talked a little bit about Lankinen. How about this? I mean, this night is full of, anything could be our stat that stands out. We had the one already. This was Kevin Lankinen's 49th appearance, his 47th start. So I would imagine that they're going to alternate. Demko can play Minnesota on Saturday. You see Lankinen against San Jose, and then Demko probably gets that home finale again, just kind of the night of recognition, although Lankinen certainly deserves some recognition as well. His next appearance, whenever it comes, will be his 50th of the season. Again, things at the outset. This guy joined the team on the final night of training camp on the eve of the preseason, and Kevin Lankinen is going to get to 50 appearances. With 47 starts and 3 to go, he's not going to start the final 3, so he won't get to 50 starts. But in the last decade, there have only been 3 guys that have started 50 games in goal for the Vancouver Canucks. Thatcher Demko's done it. I think he did it twice. Jacob Markstrom and Ryan Miller way back when, a decade ago. And so, again, when you just think of the need for this hockey club coming out of camp with the injury to Thatcher Demko, what a season it's been, and obviously rewarded with the new contract extension. So, as we said, I think personally it's probably important. Lankinen wouldn't want to go into the summer after the season that he's had, on a 5 or a 6 game losing streak individually. So he snaps that and does it in style. He was good in this hockey game, and something certainly for him to build on.
Yeah, and I think, look, we talked about it before the season that it was an important signing because they didn't really know what the hell was going on with their goaltenders. If there wasn't Kevin Lankinen, it would be Arthur Shilovs, or they would have to make a trade because you didn't know the status of Thatcher Demko. Like, for all accounts, Lankinen had a ridiculous year. He signed a 5-year, $22.5 million deal, too.
Yep.
On top of being the starter, on top of being a guy that they depend on every single night, on top of going to the 4 Nations. Like, he did it all in this year. It was a big year for Kevin Lankinen. But I think, obviously, if you look at, teams that are very successful and then try and build themselves into contenders, it's 1A and 1B. Now, if 1A can get himself to full health and have a good summer of working out and having that body hold up for a long period of time, he doesn't need to start 50 games ever again. He doesn't need to start 30. Like, you can split that up, maybe 35, but he doesn't need to start that many because you have another guy that, is willing and able to go in and get the work done every night.
Hey, it's funny. I just think back to being in Penticton, and obviously the club had more knowledge at the time about Thatcher Demko's condition and the fact that he wasn't going to be ready for camp, but he wasn't going to be ready for the start of the regular season. And then, as it turned out, he didn't make his season debut until December the 10th. But watching at training camp, and Artur Silovs didn't have a great camp, and Yuri Patera, who was signed with a little bit of NHL experience, he struggled to stop pucks. And they brought in Dylan Ferguson, who really had a tough go at training camp, and it became apparent that they needed some help. And so, it was good fortune on the part of the Vancouver Canucks that Lankinen was there and available and still out there on the open market, and brought him in. And what a season it's turned out for him. And as we said, he earned the contract extension that he got.
Mike Rogerson, Kiefer Sherwood, 20/400. Yes, he might get there. 20 goals and over 400 hits in the National Hockey League on a season.
Now, really, maybe this is the stat that stands out above all. He didn't have a hit tonight.
Yeah, that's true.
Kiefer Sherwood, the NHL's hit king, back in one of the former buildings that he used to play in, running out of daylight to bump that total, scores. This is the first star. He's on the ice for 3 of the 4 Canuck goals. Didn't have a hit. So a little bit of a surprise there for Kiefer Sherwood, but that's all right. He's allowed to have one night off from the racking up the hits. Did you notice the roof cam, or I don't even know what we call it.
Skycam.
Skycam, sure, that's a good term.
At least when I worked there, that's what it was called.
I'm still a little queasy, quite frankly. I wasn't digging that camera angle. I don't think it's anything that we've seen all season long. I don't know if they were waiting till the game didn't really matter to experiment, but high angle and moving. I think it was on a rail as well. It gave us some, and they leaned on it tonight. I'm not sure. And maybe I'm just a traditionalist and I'm used to the conventional camera angles, but
No, I think you are, definitely.
But I don't know. I'm not opposed to experimenting, but give me some warning at the very least, because I get an upset stomach from a few of those views.
Well, the entire season was a roller coaster.
That is true. Maybe that's what this is. Maybe it's just
okay. Well, then do you like the camera angle behind the net on a power play, where they one above the goalie?
Not huge on that one either.
Okay, so that's 2.
Yeah, and I mean there aren't a whole lot of options. I guess
that's true.
You're trying to ref cam. No, but we were talking here as we watched the game in studio that, generally Canucks broadcasts have the standard camera angles. ESPN did the Avs and Vegas Golden Knights the other night. Featured matchup, ESPN. I wondered, was that just a leftover? Was the camera just in the building?
Probably, yeah. And I think maybe, Sportsnet's going to think that they might have a game or two that they'll need to produce in that building, and why not give them a test? If the technology's there, I'd use it, right? And I think it does make for a different shot. The NFL has the cam that goes behind the quarterback every game. That probably is the best sport for that camera angle. Hockey, just a lot of things going on at once. But yeah, I mean, I don't mind it, but I can agree where people, if you're not really expecting it, or it can go a little sideways.
Breaking news, and this isn't the Bet365 segment.
Oh.
Tom Willander and Boston University are off to the national championship game at the Frozen Four, defeat Penn State by a score of 3-1. No scoring. It doesn't figure in the scoring. Willander, and of course Aiden Celebrini on that team as well. So a couple of Canucks prospects there, and they're playing for the Natty Championship on Saturday against Western Michigan. So even if the Canucks wanted to bring Tom Willander in and get him to sign his first pro contract, not eligible until after Saturday. His college season will come to an end. There's nothing left after Saturday, and we'll see where it goes from there. But, of course, Canucks play on Saturday, and then there'll be just 2 games remaining. There's still time. There is time that they could get him in here and burn a year of his entry level, or we're led to believe that they want him to sign and then sign an amateur tryout and go play in Abbotsford. So we'll see where things go. But Tom Willander and the Boston University Terriers will play for the national title on Saturday against Western Michigan. This portion of Rink Wide is brought to you by your Pacific Toyota dealers, and they want to tell you about the Toyota BZ4X, 100% electric vehicle. It's backed by the peace of mind of knowing that it's a Toyota, and that spark of joy you get when you pass a gas station, knowing that you don't have to stop. We tell you all the time about the cargo capacity, room for friends and family, kids, dogs, sporting equipment, you name it. You can get it all in there. And the BZ4X can handle any terrain, so it can take you from the ski slopes to wherever your life takes you. And when you choose the BZ4X, you can get $6,500 in rebates and incentives, and now you can finance a 2025 BZ4X from 0.99% APR for 36 months. Visit shoptoyota.ca or your local Pacific Toyota dealer today.
I got a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
In the grand scheme of things,
I was waiting for the what did I like, what didn't I like?
No, not that one.
Okay.
Well, kind of almost similar to that. They win these 2 games, completely different fashions. Did these 2 wins teach you anything or show you anything about this group?
Well, they're not going quietly, but they really haven't when you think of the comeback in St. Louis and the comeback in New Jersey. And, really since I look at the Four Nations break, look at their losses. I mean, the Anaheim game got away from them. They lost 5-2.
Yep.
And then they weren't a whole lot better in Seattle the following game. But really, there haven't been absolute blowouts. There were, Dallas beat them 4-1 on home ice, but that was a 2-1 game into the third period. So when you think of who's Quinn Hughes missed a bunch of time, obviously now with the guys that are out of the lineup, on that level at the very least, there were some stinkers early in the season. Or wherever, New Jersey,
they're
the
all
Islanders, and Boston. And that's part of the storyline here. But I would say in the second half of the season, Rick Tocchet's got the battle level out of these guys. They haven't gone away. And I can hear a lot of people out there saying, big deal. They're out of the playoffs. Good for them. They didn't go away. That's nothing to celebrate. And I hear you. I do. Look, this has been a highly disappointing season. There's nowhere to hide for anybody, and there's enough blame to go around, and we'll save the postmortem for the final night of the regular season.
Yep.
But did I learn anything? I'm not sure I learned. Well, I learned the DP can chuck them, so maybe I did. But just, we talked about Lankinen, and we talked about that line, and I guess right now with 3 to go, I just keep serving up more of Ratu, Joshua, and Sherwood. I want to keep seeing those guys. Pia Suter's allowed to have an off night. The guy's been on fire of late. But I didn't see much of him. I didn't see a whole lot of Brock Besser. I kind of thought there would be a little letdown after the comeback the other night and the fact that they had the news delivered to them when Minnesota beat San Jose. So I'll give this team credit again for, the first period wasn't fantastic hockey, but picked up the pace in the second and did what they had to do to get out in front. So, at this late stage, I'm not sure that we're learning a ton about individuals or the group, but I've got some things that I'm focused on, and I think I saw some of the things that I was looking for from this performance tonight.
Yeah, I like talking about that third line. You mentioned Sherwood, Ratu, and Joshua. If that can become a thing, and they know that they have that center position penciled in for Ratu into next season. You give him that confidence going into the summer, being like, okay, I don't necessarily, I know I need to work for a spot, but at least they have me penciled in, and at least they have a spot for me. I'm not going to have to worry about going on waivers or any of that, or possibly getting traded. And I think they like the look of that line. I mean, obviously, Kiefer Sherwood hits everything that moves. If Dakota Joshua, obviously this season probably a bit of a wash for him now. There were moments where it looked like he was going to be back, got a goal and assist in this game, so that's trending in the right direction. Hopefully he has a healthy summer. Hopefully he's able to come back and be a guy that they can depend on night in and night out, throw the body around a little bit and maybe score some more goals. But you're going to need the bottom of your lineup, to round that helps you round out your entire lineup. You're going to need to play your third and fourth line in big, heavy games. That's how you win in the playoffs. They've already got a problem they need to go fix in the top six. So if you can shore up the bottom 2 lines and start that way and build it up the other way, then things can start to trend in the right direction.
Some of the guys, and look, they won the hockey game. I'm not here to carve anybody, but as we analyze and sort of look at everything, some of the guys that have been pushing hard for spots in the NHL. I thought a pretty quiet night for Linus Karlsson. Max Sasson, didn't notice him much, if at all, in this hockey game. And again, it's tough to keep your performance at that level that it's been at. And that's, I want to commend them for the way that they've played here of late. So I'm not shocked that there was a night that goes by and you don't notice a few of those players. Defensively, we talked about Quinn. Mentioned Philip Hronek in his performance. Penalty killers did their part. Didn't see a whole lot out of Victor Mancini after he scored his goal the other night, and obviously DPD stealing his thunder a little bit. Mancini may have to up his game with 3 to go and show us that. I mean, he's a big dude, obviously. I don't know. I'm sure he can handle himself. But whatever the case, they had enough of an offensive thrust here from a few key guys, and they get the job done. And so full credit to the Vancouver Canucks for the 4-1 victory. They were helped. Kevin Lankinen got help from a couple of posts, and Huskin in the first period rang one off the post, and then I think it was Lankinen with about 5 minutes to go, and it was 3-1 at that point. If Colorado scores to make it a 1-goal game, who knows? But Lankinen in front off the crossbar, and it stayed out. As far as the battle between Quinn and Cale Makar, I don't know that it really materialized. Makar got a second assist on the Avs' only goal. Quinn was held off the score sheet, so he stays 2 points back of Alex Edler, 3 from passing Edler and becoming the highest scoring defenseman in franchise history. He's going to get there, and I hope he gets it here on this 3-game homestand. Again, I think it would be a great accomplishment for him, and I think it would be great for the fans to be able to salute the captain. I'm sure they'll have an opportunity, but I just think that would be a great moment in a season that has lacked a lot of those moments. So fingers crossed that Quinn Hughes can muster 3 points here over the final 3 games, all of them at Rogers Arena. What do you make of the Avs' decision to sit Nate the Great here? He came into the night tied with Kucherov at 116 points, and it sounds like Colorado's got 2 games to go. This finished out their home schedule, so they're Anaheim and LA, or LA and Anaheim, but in Southern California on the weekend back-to-back. But it kind of feels like the Avs are taking Nathan MacKinnon's opportunity to win the Art Ross out of his hands here, but obviously it's for the greater good of the team and making sure that he's healthy and ready to go come playoff time.
Yeah, Nathan MacKinnon strikes me as a guy that doesn't care at all about the Art Ross. Like I don't think so. He's got enough individual awards in his career. He's got that Stanley Cup too, right?
Yeah.
And I think that if he can go and get healthy and not have to play a game against the Vancouver Canucks on a Thursday night, where you can just sit and relax and not have to worry about anything. He's probably going to play in the final couple games. He's probably going to, just to get the body back up and going. But in a game where if he was feeling any sort of discomfort or any sort of illness, you keep him out. You have no reason for him to play.
Yeah. And look, if you're wondering, Jared Bednar this morning said it was one of those cases that, he's nursing something. If it was the playoffs, he would be playing, but they had the luxury here, and they are locked into that 3rd seed in the Central. And it looks like they're going to play the Dallas Stars because the Stars have gone south at the wrong time of the season.
Stinky right now.
Obviously, the collapse against the Canucks the other day got shut out on home ice by the Winnipeg Jets in a big battle of the top teams in the Western Conference. So the Dallas Stars kind of spinning their wheels here, and we'll see if they can get it back in time. Colorado's probably thinking, hey, hopefully it stays that way. And what a first-round matchup that'll be, Dallas and Colorado. The 2 and the 3 seeds in the Central Division. I'm not sure they're fully locked in, but certainly with the results tonight, it looks like that.
I don't even think it's going to be close, judging by recent play. I mean, I know Colorado lost tonight, but the way that the Dallas Stars melted in that game against the Vancouver Canucks, the way they've even been playing before that against the Winnipeg Jets, right? I don't think it's going to be close. I think it's 5 max for the Colorado Avalanche. Another super chat. The Blazers fan. 22. Canucks need to re-sign Suter for the love of Van.
Yeah, we've talked about it a lot. It's not going to happen between now and the end of the season, and so it's going to be right up there at the top of the list. The head coach, Brock Besser's future, which may be sealed already, according to Brock himself. Pius Suter, and we'll see where it goes. But he set himself up platform year and has knocked it out of the park with 24 goals. So he's 2 back of Jake DeBrusk, and there is a derby here with 3 games remaining. DeBrusk got 26, Besser at 25, and Pius Suter sitting on 24 goals. So we'll see how it all plays out. But we thank the Blazers fan 22 for that super chat. Jacob also telling us Max Sasson, a former Western Michigan Bronco. So I'm sure he'll be watching that national championship game.
Getting ready for a
couple of Canuck angles to the national championship title match on Saturday in St. Louis. Hey, hockey season's winding down.
Yes.
Baseball season is underway, and the Vancouver Canadians are back at the Nat, and they're back here with us on Rink Wide Vancouver, and we're excited that their season has started, and we're excited to get out to Nat Bailey Stadium as well Caesar on the road, but the home opener coming up on Tuesday, April 15th. So next Tuesday, what a better way to open the season than with fireworks at the ballpark. Caesar home all of next week, and that includes a Friday nooner at the Nat. Get your weekend started early. The first pitch goes at 1:05. The week ends with a White Spot Family Fun Sunday, an afternoon ball game, and then kids can run the bases when the game is done. For tickets, check out CanadiansBaseball.com. So, yeah, overlapping seasons here in Vancouver. And as we've said a few times now, just 3 games remaining for the Canucks. Minnesota Saturday. Macklin Celebrini makes his second NHL visit to Vancouver on Monday night. So, if we're looking for compelling storylines, we talked about if there was a night for Quinn Hughes to sit out. I don't care who's in the Canucks lineup. I want to see Macklin come to town after his hat trick and his 5-point performance. Tried his best to keep the Canucks afloat in this playoff race.
And you pointed out the hat trick and the 5-point night. They didn't even have a power play in that game.
Yeah, I mean, a nutty night of hockey. When you think of what it took to eliminate the Canucks finally, their comeback in Dallas the other night, a 6-5 hockey game, and then a night later, Minnesota and San Jose do the one better, 8-7 the final score. And I was thinking back to remember Minnesota beat the Canucks 10-7 last year.
Yeah.
So twice in the last 2 seasons.
We did a postgame after that, yeah.
Right, but Minnesota has given up 7 on home ice twice in the last couple of seasons and won both of them. So it helps when you get Kaprizov and Joel Eriksson back. I think they were getting a little nervous there in Minnie and wanted to plug their best players in. So once they got the green light, you knew that they were going to be difference makers. I don't know if anybody thought that they would score 4 goals in Eriksson X case, and Kaprizov with a goal and 2 assists, or 2 goals and 1 assist. He had 3 points. He also had 9 shots and 15 attempts.
That's what happens when you miss a lot of hockey and your team needs you.
No doubt.
You gotta get right in and gotta get on the action right away.
So Minnesota's going to be here on Saturday, but they stop in Calgary on Friday night, and there's still some meat on the bone there. Minnesota can eliminate Calgary,
yes,
with the win, but Calgary fighting for its playoff life. And see what happened to the Flames in Anaheim.
Yeah,
had a 3-1 lead with 3 minutes to go and lost in overtime. So been a crazy week here on the National Hockey League scoreboard and just the way that some of these games have unfolded. But Minnesota, you would think they would want to deliver the knockout blow themselves. So I'm assuming that Philip Gustafsson gets the start in Calgary. And that probably means that we see Marc-Andre Fleury here in Vancouver on Saturday in what will, in all likelihood, be his final NHL regular season appearance. I can't say that it's going to be the final time we ever see him because, I don't know, if Gustafsson gets the hook or gets injured in the playoffs, whatever. There's still a chance that the Flower sees some game action. But in terms of NHL starts, and remember, this guy was part of that 2003 draft class, and he is still going strong. Brent Burns in that draft class, Corey Perry in that draft class. Just a legendary draft of 2003. And Marc-Andre Fleury, we may witness a little bit of history and see the Flower for the final time, although I wonder. I mean,
he's on After Hours.
But Minnie's got no choice. They got to play him. Like, they don't have anybody else, but he gave up 7.
Yeah, it's true.
To the San Jose Sharks. So, anyways, whatever the case, Minnesota's here on Saturday night. Matt Boldy having an incredible... He had 4 assists in that hockey game. Leads Minnesota with 71 points, and every time I see the name Matt Boldy, and I just think 2 picks after Vasily Podkolzin at Rogers Arena in that 2019 draft. So leads the Wild with 71 points, and Marco Rossi's becoming the player that the Wild had hoped as well. He is up to 60 points. And, of course, Minnesota jockeying with St. Louis. We'll have to see ultimately how things play out there around the playoff bar and who's going to be wild card 1 and who will be the second wild card for in the Western Conference this season. All right.
We've got the head coach.
Oh, do we? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, let's do that, and then we'll get to your Bet365 line of the night. But here's Rick Tocchet after a 4-1 victory as the Canucks close out the road portion of their schedule.
Earlier today, Brock had talked about just wanting to finish these last 4 games strong and sticking to the team identity. Is that what you saw tonight?
Yeah, I think it was a really good effort. A lot of good stuff from some individuals, I thought. Thought the team played really well. I liked our game. I liked our second period. I think it really not backing off after the first was a key for us.
Defenseman Elias Pettersson getting his very first fight. Your thoughts on it?
Yeah, he did handle himself very well. He's when a guy can do that every once in a while, people will keep their head up. So it's good. He's a big man, and he's always 20 years old. So yeah, really impressed with that.
What's your message to the team once you met after being eliminated last night and you got these 4 games? What was your message?
Yeah, the message is like we can't get into what ifs and what happened, and that's for another discussion. For me, I keep saying there's a lot of people watching us. The effort's there. Continue to give the effort. Going to try to play some guys in certain situations. There's certain guys that have played well for them. I think they deserve to keep playing too. There's some guys that can get 20 goals, which is nice. So, but you got to still play the right way, and I think we're playing the right way.
Dakota Joshua.
Yeah, I thought the line was really good. I thought that line's been since I put them together. They've played it. They've been really consistent. The last bunch of games I played them together. Dakota's this is big. This is big for Dakota. I think if he can have some strong games down the stretch, give him some confidence going into the summer, work on some things, and mentally for him too to recharge himself again, because when he plays like that, he's a difference maker. A big guy that can hold on to pucks, that scores around the net. Those are hard to find. So he's a guy that when he does that, he's really effective for us.
There you go, Rick Tocchet. Like the second period, likes the outcome, likes DPD. Michael says Tocchet beaming like a new pop over DPD. But he makes the point, like he doesn't have to fight all the time, but if that's in his arsenal, yeah, it's going to get the attention of people and players around the league. I find this interesting too, that and I've heard this now for the better part of a week when it didn't look good for the Vancouver Canucks and their playoff chances. But how many times has Rick Tocchet mentioned this idea that people are watching? And I wonder if he also sort of is hinting that, people are watching him and the job that he's doing. And can he get full buy-in from his players here down the stretch if he's not the head coach of the Vancouver Canucks next year? Obviously with the club option, it can get a little dicey. It's not like he's going to be a free agent, but I do wonder if there's an element of it's not just people around the league watching the players, but watching the job that the coaching staff is doing as well.
I've always said every game is an audition for your next one, and especially if you're a call-up from the American League or you're a guy that's in a contract season, or even if you're a guy that is under contract, you can be traded at any point. That is exactly what it is. But in this instance right now, they're out of the playoffs. You have nothing to play for but your pride and the jersey and the crest in front of you and, the players beside you and all that sort of cliche stuff. But Rick Tocchet is definitely right. Like, there are definitely people watching. People are taking notes of what is going on, not only players, but you just mentioned him as well. It could get dicey here. I think Patrick Alvin said we'll deal with that when it comes up about Rick Tocchet. So some interesting times ahead. But yeah, definitely an audition for everybody.
Is one of the people that's watching Rick Tocchet, Kyle Dubas, who today was named the general manager for Canada at the upcoming World Hockey Championships in Sweden and Denmark. You think about this. Next year's an Olympic year, and we're led to believe that the same staff that just won the Four Nations is going to be back intact. Would it make some sense from a Hockey Canada perspective to keep some continuity behind the bench from the Four Nations to the World Championship to the Olympics? I don't know how much carryover there'll be from one roster to the next, but the other guys that were behind the bench at the Four Nations, they're all a little busy here.
Yeah.
Starting in a week's time, John Cooper and Bruce Cassidy and Pete DeBoer obviously are all going to the playoffs. So
just taking a quick look at the standings, of the coaches, Patrick Waugh, right? Is he going to be a guy that they want? Buffalo Sabres coach Lindy Ruff, is he going to be a guy that is there?
Andre Tournier has done it in the past
in Utah. Yeah.
But I do wonder, and that's a question I suppose that we'll have to put to Rick Tocchet here. In
San Jose's coach is coaching USA,
right?
Yeah.
Ryan Warsofsky. So Anyways, Hockey Canada hasn't named a coach yet,
Nope.
And in fact, just today installed Kyle Dubas of the Pittsburgh Penguins as the general manager for the upcoming World Hockey Championships. All right, we talked a little bit about Calgary and Minnesota tomorrow, which leads me to ask you, what have you got your eye on the out-of-town scoreboard for our Bet365 line of the night?
Well, breaking news. There are some hockey games tomorrow, Jeff, coming in from Bet365. Actually, a lot of sports. For every nail biting overtime win, it's a barn burner. Face-off, hat-trick, power play goal, shot on goal, penalty shot every suspenseful minute in between. Oh, it's amazing. Whatever the moment, never ordinary at Bet365. Official partner of the NHL. Download Bet365 and use code NATION to get in on the game. Must be 19 and older. Please play responsibly. Jacob, I do believe I did go with the Calgary Flames over the Minnesota Wild. Yes, that is correct. The Montreal Canadiens over the Ottawa Senators, who just clinched the playoffs on their own as well. And the Tampa Bay Lightning over the Detroit Red Wings. Those three together, pretty good odds.
Habs trying to make it 7 in a row.
Is Davidoff going to play? He's in Canada.
Yeah, I saw that video of him touching down at Pearson.
There was 100,000 people watching a live stream of the airport waiting for the gates to open. 100,000 people watching a live stream of the gates open of people walking through the airport for this guy.
A couple of scores. In fact, the night is now complete around the National Hockey League. L.A. hangs a 6-1 licking on the Anaheim Ducks. Vegas edges Seattle by a score 2-1. Nashville got past Utah 4-3 in a shootout. Winnipeg shut out Dallas 4-0. How about the Rangers and the Islanders? Always talk that up as this big rivalry. Rangers, and we know what kind of season they've had, got smoked at home by Philadelphia, and then they turn around and they go to the Island and lay a 9-2 beatdown on the New York Islanders. Our buddy Bo Horvat -5 in that hockey game. Washington over Carolina 5-4 in a shootout. Columbus defeated Buffalo 3-2. Florida with a 4-1 win over Detroit. And Chicago goes into Boston, beats the Bruins by a score 5-2. Pasternak with a goal and an assist. He's in on both Boston goals. He's got 102 points.
Top 5 player, maybe
and
4.
Nobody else on that team has more than 50, I don't think. It's
insane
ridiculous if you go and look at the Boston Bruins season scoring. It's Pasternak, and then there's just this massive gap till you get to number 2 on the list. All right, a couple other things here as we wind down on Rink Wide. 3 to go. We'll be back on Saturday. Of course, there is a Canucks team in action before then, and that's the Abbotsford Canucks. Their final 2 home games, Friday and Saturday, out at the Abbotsford Event Center, or Abbotsford Center. The Calgary Wranglers are in town. It's fan appreciation night on Saturday, but hopefully it's team appreciation night on Friday as they try to push their win streak to 14 straight games. Can they run the table here with 5 games remaining? So hockey out in Abbey on Friday and Saturday, and then the Canucks downtown taking on Minnesota on Saturday night. Not too late to follow us on our socials. If you're watching us on the live stream, you can see all of the channels there. So take your pick or follow us on all of them. And, of course, subscribe to the YouTube channel because as the season winds down, we've got a bunch of plans going on behind the scenes about some off-season content. And, you get into that rhythm of Rink Wide's ready for you right after every game. But if we're pumping out content in the summer, maybe you're not prepared for it. Maybe you'll miss it. So just subscribe, and then you won't miss it at all. Rate and review. Tell friends and family. Spread the word about Rink Wide Vancouver as the season winds down. Just before we go, we've got Kiefer Sherwood after the hockey game. He was the first star here. He's got 19 goals on the season. He helps the Canucks with a 4-1 victory. So let's hear from Kiefer Sherwood.
It was just talked about sticking to team identity for these last 4. Is that what you guys did tonight?
Yeah, I thought we played pretty well. Limited their scoring chances, and I thought we played a pretty stingy game. And I think we got a lot of contribution from a lot of guys. It was a great game by Lanky, and it was a good last road game for us.
What was the message heading into this one?
Just play our game, play to our identity. It doesn't matter the playoff race. Like these things translate into development and down the road. So. It sucks, obviously. We got eliminated last night, but, I think we still have a lot of pride and continue to put our best foot forward.
Defenseman Elias Pettersson grabs his first fight. Thoughts on his battle?
Yeah, he's been looking for it for a little bit. We kind of talked about it last night a little bit, actually. I thought he looked like just Mike Tyson, just throwing them and taking them and throwing them more. So I'm sure he's going to have to brush up on some technique, but it was great. It was great. He plays a hard game, and it's probably the first of many just because he's going to get under guys' skin a lot with his physicality.
Are you teaching him a few things?
No, that's not my department.
Kiefer Sherwood with jokes, too. I like it.
He would have to take off both his gloves.
That's true. We've talked about Kiefer Sherwood. He's up to 19 goals and 3 games to go. I mean, I hope he gets to 20. 20 is a nice round number and a milestone for a guy that hasn't been anywhere close to that. But beyond that, he picked up his 40th point tonight. He's got 19 goals and 21 assists, so he's up to 40 points. So he got the round number there. 36 of them at even strength and 2 while shorthanded. The other thing is team high 6th game winner. So in this case, it was a 2-0 goal midway through the second period, but it goes into the books as the winner. And I don't think anybody else on the team has more than 4. So he has separated himself in the game-winning category as well with 6 now on the season. All right. You texted me earlier in the day, so what are we going to talk about? We talk about whatever the Canucks offer us up.
We had talked about it for an hour.
I know.
It was
That's
great.
what we do here.
That's what we do.
And we really didn't even get into the comments of Brock Besser and Quinn Hughes and some others, but
We could save that for Thursday, I think.
there will be plenty
lots to talk. We'll do a long show
Absolutely
Thursday,
we
yeah.
will. Yes. All right. That's going to do it. Give the Canucks credit. Go into Colorado and defeat the Avs by a score of 4-1. Back-to-back victories on this road trip, and now they come on home for the final 3. All right. We thank Jake Lebazar, wiped off the chicken wing grease and was able to work the control board for us. I'm a little jealous, actually. I'm feeling kind of hungry, so maybe I'll have to go source some wings myself here once we're done. But for Jacob and for Irf, I'm Jeff. Thanks so much for hanging with us here on Rink Wide Vancouver.